Now here we may have to do a little bit of scrolling back and forth to do the reflections GeoGebra, so let's just take it a little bit at a time. Uh, we're going to create the quadrilateral, and then we're going to use reflect about line, and we want to click on the x-axis to see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, and I need to have my icons up here, so it's the third to last icon. You can see reflect about line. I'm going to highlight my object, and then I'm going to click on the x-axis. And I can see it's all down here, so I just need to scroll my screen down to see what's happening. So here I see it's reflected about the x-axis, and I'm going to try to figure out, well, what's going on. So I can see that it's from the x-axis to A, I've gone 2 units up, and from the x-axis to A prime, or to my image, it's 2 units down. Same thing for, if I look at B goes up 1, B prime goes down 1. C goes up 3, C prime goes down 3. D goes up 5, D prime goes down 5. So I can see that however far, whatever my distance is from my line, I'm going to cross the line the same distance to create my image from my pre-image. So if I drag, for example, come up here, go back to my move tool. If I drag A, oh, I grabbed the label. If I drag A, I can see that my distance now is 4 above the x-axis, so A prime is 4 below the y-axis. Say I cross over the axis, look what happens. It still will reflect across the y-axis. Here I've gone below the x-axis, so its image goes 3 above the x-axis. So I can focus on the points that are visible that I'm trying to reflect and say, how do I create them in relationship to the specific line of reflection? Here, I'm going to refresh this now. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my next one, which wanted me to look at reflecting across the y-axis. So let's see how this changes. So again, I use my reflect about line, I highlight, and then I can click on my y-axis. Now, instead of my height changing, it's my x value that's changing. Now, the pre-image is to the right, and the image values are the same distance to the left of the y-axis. And again, though, say that I drag point D. If I go across the y-axis, D prime is always on the opposite side of the y-axis. So now it's 3 units to the left, so D prime is 3 units to the right. Then again, the entire coordinate plane is actually being reflected, but we focus on these specific points that are in this image that we care about. Now the last one then said to create the line x equals 4. So I'm going to delete out this one. I'm going to use my tool, create a line, and that line would be at x equals 4. So there's my line, and it wants me to reflect about this line. So I'm going to reflect about line, I'm going to highlight my points, and then I'm going to click on the line. And here I can see that it didn't matter if it's an x-axis or y-axis. It has nothing to do about the axes. It has to do about the line and the distance from the line. So I can see that D is horizontally 2 units to the left of the line of x equals 4. So D prime is 2 units to the right. C was 1 unit to the right, so C prime is 1 unit to the left. So we're always looking at that distance to the line and saying that we're going to go on the opposite side of the line that same distance, and that's going to be our line of reflection.